and it's really important to note like how important drafting is in Heroes of the Storm. If you have a bad draft into a particular team, I don't necessarily a bad draft, it's just a bad draft into that specific composition, you're going to be in rough shape. But if you have a more even draft, like that game was pretty close despite the draft disadvantage.
Yeah, and I really like this decision. Do You Know has elected to take us to Infernal Shrines, and they look their most impressive on that battleground. So I think the conversation that was had for Do You Know was, guys, we could have made some different decisions in the draft, but the team fights, we were there neck and neck at the beginning of the game. So let's just go back to our hometown. Let's go back to a place of comfort for us. Let's take some heroes that we want to play, that we know we can capitalize on. Do you break out the Alarak here?
My question is the Alex Straza ban going to come through? Because we got to assume Newmerics was, watching that previous set since they got a bye. They had nothing else to do. At least one person probably was watching the stream and being like, what did they play? What did they play on which map? And if we see the Alex ban come out, we'll know that has been the case. But it was prioritized very highly by Do You Know. They picked it up in the 1-2, I believe, in the previous game. So
yeah, the Alex Straza was picked up super early in the game last series, and you saw why. I mean, 178,000 hero damage. That was more than what 2 supports put together last game for Do You Know. They're gonna go back of banning out the Blaze on the side of Team Newmerics. I feel like you're kind of obligated to take the GOAT off the board here if you Do You Know. And Cav, I would not at all be shocked to see Alex Straza and Hero X selected in the 1-2.
I would not do that. I feel like we're going to see that Urel ban again. I feel like that's sort of the mode people have gone into. It's like, oh, we'll ban Blaze, we'll ban Urel. If you have a more flexible offlane hero pool, that really helps. And then they're actually switching it up. They're banning the Genji.
I mean, that was a cornerstone of how we saw takedowns happen. I mean, how many times did the Envy get the press E key over that second objective phase? Like, he was just dashing on everybody, and they were all back home. So I get it. I understand. But you're leaving Urel in some very capable hands in doing exactly what they just did. You're going to need 178,000 hero damage at this point, or healing at this point.
I'm really excited to see that Urel pick up. I want to see exactly how it's going to be played here on Infernal Shrines. This should be one of her best maps with the way she works in lane and the way her kit has been developing. I want to see how these amateur teams. We've only seen one Urel game tonight, and it was into a pretty unfavorable or a pretty difficult lane matchup, shall we say? But it was on one of her better maps. She still did end up not quite having the impact that we expected her to have. But switching it up, Johanna Phoenix, not Johanna Alex Straza.
Okay. Do you know that a pitcher on the mound, they look down, the catcher says, throw the fastball, man, go for the Alex Straza again. They wave that off. Time for the curveball. Phoenix, Johanna, we have not yet seen Phoenix in their hands at all this evening. Johanna, very solid pick, can steal away defenders. Very difficult to take down. Was used to great effect by Team Newmerics in the last game. So that while that serves as a denial pick, some of those comfort options are still on the board, but not highly prioritized in the draft this go-round.
I like the Decker Diablo pick because it means they don't have to ban the Alex Straza. They can just be like, that's fine. You have Alex Straza. We'll have Emerald from level 7 onwards. We're going to be in good shape. This was one of Diablo's best maps. It's still one of Diablo's best maps. This can be rough into a Johanna specifically because she iron skins your charge. You're suddenly overextended and very unhappy. I'm curious if Johanna is going to be the only slow here, or if we're going to see some sort of Planet Cracker combo with a different hero. Because generally speaking, you want a big slow to make sure Salva does max damage. Something like a Diablo's Lightning Breath, or a Stitch's Bile, or Thrall's Earthquake. Like a slow that's guaranteed to hit everything.
I mean, if you're going down the Phoenix route and you're looking at synergy, one could do worse than Leoric with Planet Cracker and Entomb, especially if you make it to level 20. You put the box on someone at the end game and they can't press any buttons, it's going to be a pretty rough go. Leoric, throwing the Entomb on Decker Kane even at level 10 could have a huge impact. We'll see though. Tychus is going to be the ban. They're trying to keep the high health pool on Diablo in check, but Kev, that is not a ban I expected.
Interesting because Actually, Tychus would have been relatively good for them. Tychus isn't great with Johanna, and she's not good into Johanna. So it's kind of interesting to have the Tychus man come through because you generally want a stun tank with a Tychus to like set up for his minigun. But Johanna until 10 isn't that tank. She doesn't have the necessary stun to really set him up for maximum success. But Odin is always a consideration on Shrines, even outside of the minigun. It's good for sieging with the Immortal. It's good for sieging into the Shrine itself.
Kev, if Team Newmerics goes Cho'Gall.
Oh.
If Team Newmerics, like, cause think about it. Sure, Tychus can do well against Diablo. But we haven't seen a strong Tychus at it, do you know? Tychus isn't exactly meta to that degree here in North America, in my opinion, that you're burning a second ban on him. If you're looking at a specific hero pool, Alarak would have been a solid choice to ban out. So why else are you banning Tychus?
I think it was just a Diablo fear, but hopefully it's Cho'Gall because God knows I would love to cast a Cho'Gall game. Greymane was picked up though. Cursed Bullet is a real threat into Cho'Gall, so that alone might be enough to deter them if they were thinking about it.
I'm just saying. Why else? It would be a weird comp. It would be 100% a weird comp. But Team Newmerics, man, they play their own game. They could do it.
You do want a strong independent off lane when you have a Cho'Gall because you don't, and then you want a tank or a bruiser who's like has their own self-sustain because Cho is essentially a tank that only peels for Gall, and then Gall is technically a hyper carry, so you can go, triple warrior. He does that level of damage. I don't think it's the pickup here.
I was about to say, I feel like if they're going to do it, they would have way. But I'm just really curious to see what the strategy there was. Junkrat and Sergeant Hammer. I knew it was going to be something wild off the back end. You win game one that handedly. Sure, the first objective fight was pretty even, but the rest of that, Team Newmerics just kind of ran away with it.
Hammer has, of course, been in the meta ever since MSB. Korea, particularly Rich, showed us how to play her, how she can be so strong. She's really weak pre-10, so often you just find her sort of AFK in the off lane, which is normally a role that a different hero would do. But we just see that Alex Straza last picked, and I don't know if they can get to that Hammer. She does have an on-demand unstoppable with siege tactics from 4 onwards. It only has a 12-second cooldown. It's going to be hard to burst her out because she does have 50 armor when that's going on. Deckard is probably the best support for Hammer because you just can't miss potions on a stationary target or even a very slow-moving target, which is what Hammer is. I feel like Newmerics won the draft again, and that did not go well. But Defenders on Alex Straza. That's the saving grace here, is that Chia's on Alarak, Defenders on Alex Straza.
The Alex Straza could very well be the saving grace for game number 2. Or do you know? The heal reduction talent from Deckard Cain, I think that the fact that exists is why Alex Straza wasn't banned. Kwanzar is one of those players that just thinks 2 or 3 steps ahead. It's like, we don't have to take Alex Straza away from him. Like, we're going to take away 75% or whatever they're healing. So let them do it if we really wanted to deal with it. The Sergeant Hammer Junkrat, I agree with you. It is going to be tough to get to at the very least. Sergeant Hammer. Condemn, Bless Shield, Telekinesis. To a degree, those are pretty telegraphed, so we could see Hammer go off. Game number 2. On the left.
Go ahead.
Oh, go.
I was going to say, I know a lot of people have questions about exactly why Hammer is so strong in the meta right now. And I think throughout the course of this game, anyone watching in chat is going to sort of figure it out.
Yeah, we're about to see. On the left side, it was Team Newmerics, Caesar Salad, on Deckard Cain, Zap Attack playing Yrel, Kwanzar's on Junkrat, Envy's playing Sergeant Hammer, and Asta Prophet's playing NBA Jam on Diablo.
On the right hand side, we do have Do You Know, Hashmer on Johanna, Defender on the Alex Straza again, Mr. Flex on Phoenix, Blake Show on Greymane, and Skio again on that Alarak.
Here we go. We've seen Do You Know play it aggressive at level 1, play it conservative. Really curious to see how they do it. Zap Attack's going to rotate up top. Doesn't have the fanciest mount you'd ever see, but it's not the Battle Beast, so he has to have had played better.
It's sort of the instant wave there. And Diablo's not super strong in the early game. You can see they have Hammer sort of AFKing top. Even have Yrel guarding her, so they're going to play very conservatively in this 3-man. Clearing the wave and then rotating. very, very, very slowly. Whereas in top lane, they're going to play far more aggressively, and that's a winning lane for Yrel already. So adding a hammer in is just going to make that snowball incredibly hard.
Yeah, this kind of innovative strategy that I always enjoy seeing out of Team Newmerics. Not a lot of amateur teams are ready to deal with a different style of strategy. I'm sure Skio rotate up there. He's like, all right, I'm going to deal with Yrel, and it's going to be a standard 1-4 rotation. No, Team Newmerics going to shake things up and really maybe change up the plan that had. It's like, do we respond to that? Do we just let it go and let them get an advantage there? What can we get as a counter response? Just decisions like that to disrupt the overall expected flow of a game has, in my opinion, always served the players of Team Newmerics.
In a lot of cases, it's sort of like it's an intelligence check. Like, we're not going to do a standard 1-4. We're going to do a different linear arrangement. If you don't respond to a different linear arrangement correctly on the rotation at the right time, you're going to miss soak, or you're going to miss a camp, or something's going to go on. And if you don't respond to it at all, then we're going to have a notable advantage because we have a better lane setup than you do. And you can see they almost got this camp basically for free as a result of the adaptation that had to make. But they barely managed to get there in time. Yrel currently double soaking and actually rotating down with rotational advantage. They're going to be full 5v4 over this camp.
Mr. Flex somehow has lasted longer than ultimately Zabitak came down and we gotta make sure Phoenix is taken down. The Space Goat shows up. First takedown in the game. Envy was laying waste to the top lane, showing themselves as a threat, and then that further diverse strategy. Suddenly there's a heavy rotation down bot. There's things that an average team or a team that just is used to standard play does not expect. Team Newmerics just showing that they're again a step ahead.
That ended up being really close overall because it was a camp pickup for Dino, and they did give up a kill for it. Some soak was missed in exchange, so it ended up being very even overall in the experience. You're going to see the camp out for Dino, the Kaiser camp, and then the Bruisers coming out for Team Newmerics, but the lane already pressured here, which means that camp's going to get immediate pressure on the wall if it's not dealt with, whereas the objective is top.
This is going to be a very important fight, in my opinion, Cam, because I feel like Dino needs to finish 10 because there are going to be a lot of added options to augment the value had in these hero selections at a team fight, especially for Team Newmerics. You can get an advantage early on, give yourself that cushion. The zoning route into the overpower Shadow Charge on the Hammer shows that the front line's a target, but the Junkrat mine sends Defender over, and the Dragon comes out. So here comes that sustain.
And Defender has to Dragon out of vision. That's a hallmark of good Australian play. He is very interruptible, has a long cast time. The Dragon's so far away that they have a long time to push in. Envy takes so much damage. And he actually ends up getting deleted. A little bit of sadism going over to Alarak there. And wow, Newmerics is still pressuring in despite everything.
Suddenly, Skio's wearing a fedora, and he just tipped his hat to the lady because the added speed boost was surely going to get Sergeant Hammer out of there. Telekinesis said, hang on, lady. Here we go. We're going to finish this conversation, and that ability might very well pave the way for the first Punisher of the game to go over to Dino. Zabitak, healthy health bar. Quansar steps forward with Junkrat. There goes the root. Shadow Charge, overpower into. A lot of damage goes on in Mr. Flex. Hits the teleport, is able to back away. We got a condemn from Johanna. Skio getting supported by Defender. 31-29. This is neck and neck right now.
Now they're forced to fight inside Hammer's range if they want to fight for the objective, but they're not going to do so. They're going to back up. 30-29, they do end up losing the objective. Camp mid has been cleared by the minions plus the towers. You get a little bit of value, a little bit of structure damage, but not quite as much as they wanted. Big Wave bottom also collapsing. So they have an advantage in the other lanes, but they did lose the objective, and they will be able to minimize the damage here with the Iron Tome. Johanna jumping the Punisher very, very safely, and shouldn't get too much more than the wall.
Another game, another instance where a very close first objective fight goes over to the way of Team Newmerics. You know, last time we were on Infernal Shrines, we're talking wall now because the Punishers don't do as much damage. But when you have Sergeant Hammer hanging back, living their life with impunity, you're going to come away with the first quarter of the game in a huge surge in experience.
What's the huge surge? And it goes to show how much early game decision making can matter, because the reason they got that fort was the wall was already weakened from that early game double lane from Urel and Hammer just being top, which means they got the gate down very, very quickly, and they managed to fight with their Punisher over the fort. And that was enough to force the Uno to back off, get free damage on the fort as a result, and well, fort experience is a lot more than tower experience these days.
A hallmark of these players on Team Newmerics is always what I like to force. You know, you watch a movie, you see like a gun on a dresser in the back, and you're like, what? That? And then a few minutes later, or in the third act, oh, that's why it's there. That decision to go for that early wall paves the way for the first quarter of the game. Zapatek will try to get around the corner, gets the Discord strike, gets the telekinesis, but Caesar Salad throws down the potion, have a drink and a smile, buddy. You're gonna be okay.
Trying to defender use the dragon there just for the objective invade. That means it shouldn't be up, at least it won't be up immediately for the next objective phase of the game, because there's so long between the objectives and dragon. There's such a long cooldown. So that's going to essentially remove one of the massive advantages they have for their calm on this map specifically, which is that it's so good at Shrine because of Dragon Form from Alex Graza. And just a little bit of an experience lead now for Team Newmerics, not too much, not even a full level, but it's enough that they will guaranteed have level 10 before the objective happens.
And Newmerics is the caliber of team that is very acutely aware of the use of the dragon. So anytime a valuable cooldown is used and they minimize its value, you could very well expect to see them be aggressive as a consequence after. They're going to move envy forward. They got the siege camp that accent a healthy minion wave. They're going to try to do some damage to this bottom fort wall. The more damage you can do, the more you can stack up in your favor over the long run, the better.
And see how hard it is to actually gap close this hammer. Even if you could, she now has movement speed, so she can sort of readjust slightly depending on where she wants to be. She sieges up in a very safe position. She has mines zoning in the alleyway that was the short approach to her. Gets the tower, and then she can just sort of move around once the tower has been gotten. Move into different positions, do the same thing. She's going really hard on this engage here, trying to see if they can find something, but on the front line, like not killing the hammer, but killing the front line instead, but not enough, and they're forced to back up, and Envy's going to continue to shell away at these buildings.
Level 10 is also picked up. I get it. I mean, you want to try to go for that team fight, Team Numeric, but they're just not heavily committing. I mean, with this composition, they need to go in like they're prepared to die. Because if you just wade in, Envy's just going to shred your health bar before you know it. I don't think we've seen yet this entire series can have an instance where Team Numeric have been in a defensive stance. Like, they've just been able to lean forward or go toe-to-toe. And I don't think we've seen him sweat yet this series.
And as the objective comes up, Urel is going to instantly start it, going to get at least 7 or 8 minion lead on that immediately. That's really important because you see here Envy in the backlane, and Zabatek has that consecrated ground already down, sacred ground. If you try to push onto that, like Urel's going to knock you back, focus the Urel, she has a bunch of armor. You can't get to the hammer. What do? There's a big condemn into Planet Cracker right there. That's what you do. But even that was just not enough. Astral Breath may end up going down here. Barely manages to live 500 health. Lightning Breath in the choke does so much damage.
Astabrov turns around for the slow. We're going to see 3 heroes get taken down on a side of Yuki. No, deflects. The last potential target, but Defender is going to be able to sustain. Perfectly baited. Astabrov moves up on the ropes, gets the heal from Caesar Salad, turns around, and goes off. That's going to pave the way for another Punisher in the favor of Team Newmerics. Another close, but no cigar scenario. Going not the way of Do You Know.
Again, I'm going to pay attention to the hammer here. The average scenario. This gets a wall and a half the fort, usually, because it is the second Punisher. But again, with the hammer and the damage that's already been done because of the laning advantage, they're going to get the wall very, very quickly, very easily. It's hard to defend the fort against that splash damage from the hammer itself. If the Punisher jumps on you, there's a risk you get taken down, and they're forced to back off because of that zoning potential. Free fort.
Arcane Punisher, 22%. That's just going to be cleared out, and it will buy time for Team Newmerics to rotate around and continue to assert dominance over the map. Nearly 2-level lead, tier advantage, 4 takedowns to 2. We see a very comfortable Team Newmerics get their feet up on the proverbial coffee table, help themselves at enemy team siege camp, and 3 bottom forts, helping themselves at that.
I love Deckard burning Defender of the Ancients here as 13 talent. It does have a very short cooldown. It does add damage to every basic attack within a 1-second internal cooldown, and it just managed to let you burn things very quickly. Bosses, camps, whatever. And again, at a 30-second cooldown, it's worth it to burn it for that speed. Everything you can do a little bit faster if you're not going to need it because you know you're not going to be taking a fight. Very much worth it.
Alexstrasza looking at their healing numbers, 53,000 healing compared to just 33 from Deckard Cain. But it's kind of all been for naught because as much sustain as they have, Envy's just able to hang out in the back line, do whatever they want to do, and then they have an escape option if the lack of dive ever gets there to begin. So I think we're going to need to see, shift their strategy. Get a hit, not go for the full straight up 5v5 or coming right at you style that they've been doing, because it hasn't been paying off for them yet.
Such a strange scenario here because we're gonna have the triple soak going on for Newmerics. So, like, we don't want to fight. We have a talent tier advantage. We're ahead. We just want to get the next objective going. But it's gonna be an even talent tier for the next thing. So they voluntarily don't take that 5-man fight that tried to force at bottom, getting that experience, and they instead just play the map a little bit better. They can't really do anything else because they can't push in. With all the forward stat, it's very dangerous to go on the other team's side of the map, especially with Hammer, who does not retreat well. She can't mount up.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because normally when you see that kind of reserve play, it's normally the team that's at the disadvantage that is the one hanging back behind structures. But no, Team Newmerics is just like, all right, well, you can go ahead and swing at our bottom four. We don't really feel like fighting you. They're playing very much their own game. Every decision that they're making doesn't show much acknowledgement of what the enemy team's doing. They're executing their strategy with flawless precision, and it's paying off for them.
And look at how close they are to 16 right now. Even if the objective spawned right now, it's still a few seconds off. They would be able to get 16 before the objective actually finished. They won't be able to get it before it spawns. So they knew that. They knew, oh, the objective died right as we hit level 13. We also got a fort's worth of experience. Therefore, we'll be able to get 16 before the objective comes all the way up. And we don't have to fight you. We can just wait. We'll have a talent tier advantage for the next objective. If you choose to fight against our talent tier advantage, great. If not, we get the objective for free. We push onto a keep. If we get a single pick, we get in the game. Very disciplined play.
It's impressive. The shrine is active, level 16, a hair's breadth away for the team in blue. Shadow charge, overpowered. There goes the W from Alexstrasza, minus 75. Predicted. Continued harassment onto the front line. Ashman has to back away. Forces out the dragon. Heavier commitment now from And the BFG rolls through. Rip Tucker hits the jump, hits Skill in the face. Counter strike this time. Gets roasted anyway. First takedown of the team.
Stoppable frames from Diablo's Lightning Breath are actually hugely significant because it didn't allow him to condemn. It allows him to stay in that choke, forcing the other team to play around him. And as they have to walk out through the other direction, they're getting shelled literally by a tank. Also set up for the stay a while and listen very nicely. They're running down Defender here. Mr. Flex should be the only person to evade the carnage. The instant mount from Urel, allowing her to run down Defender. And 13 to 14 on the objective, but with everyone dead, I'm pretty sure they can get it.
Caesar Salad just stepped forward, cleared his throat, and then started reading the novel Die Hard. Just no worry. Deckard Cain waddles his way up front and hits a money. Stay a while and listen to just put an exclamation point on another decisive team fight in favor of Team Newmerics. Just playing at a whole other level. Punisher rocking and rolling in the top lane. They're looking for middle keep wall, middle keep. Get a takedown or 3. They're looking for game.
They are going to be able to get this camp out as well. You can see they know how far behind they are, so Team is trying to flank from behind, try to force a fight behind the Punisher. This is the kind of thing that you can do if you're this far behind. You really need to, but it's so many tools, so much save here from Newmerics. It's not going to work out. And even the BFG coming out being like, maybe, but no. They do manage to dodge that, but that's going to mean that the wave is here, the keep wall is going down. Several heroics were burned for both teams there, but more impactful heroics were burned for Newmerics, so maybe with a jump rat bomb.
That jump rat bomb might have just saved any chance of this game being. That was what was about to happen. Caesar Salad, I know we could have just won the game if they hit that route. And Kwanzaa was like, but the top keep is going to go down, 35% left yet, still on the frozen Punisher. Can bait it towards mid? They go for it and make that happen. Can they save this game?
You have a hammer, but it's only 13 seconds until you're in a 5v5 again. You already got the keep. You're guaranteed to get level 20, potentially level 21 for the next objective. So Newmerics is like, same thing, discipline. We're going to back up. We're going to take the next objective again with a talent tier advantage. There's nothing you can do to stop us except potentially fight us down talent tier. If you win that, great, but chances are you're not going to win that.
Shadow Charge goes in, minus 75 healing is having it. Fricassee another. There's a knockback from Urel, buys enough time to close out Johanna's health bar also. Mr. Flex does get the teleport. Then there's the telekinesis, but Caesar Salad wants to have further additions to the conversation. And Cav, what we're seeing is a composition for every occasion. I mean, anytime we see any kind of aggression from Team Newmerics seemingly has the perfect answer. You want to go into a narrow choke, minus 75% health. And then we got Lightning Breath. What you gonna do? You come at it straight on. Hammer's a year back. What you gonna do? So far, has no answer.
We saw this is picked up again this game. I actually would have liked to see the Applied Force. Applied Force can barely match Hammer's range. So there's like some chance Hammer's really far back, you can draw her to. If she doesn't hit the Unstoppable, she's out there posturing up with that talent, she probably will. So it would have been very difficult for them to do anything at all. And again, talent tier advantage, they're going to start pressuring up here. This keep wall will not give them 20, so this is a chance. There's a very narrow window here where Gino can get 16 and take this fight.
Zabatak and the team are very well aware of that. Zabatak being the ward, Urel's going to be pretty tough to burst down and catch out of position. So there's the knockback. The call is in. Grenades go in from Junkrat to dismount. Just precision, coordinated play, time and time again. Such a treat to see.
And Zabatek has, as Urel has that ward, really safe warding engine. So you can DW people away, stun them for 3/4 of a second, displace them, instant mount, and then just run. And everyone else on columns that whole time is like, oh, they're here. Oh, mount up, run away. And everyone's just mounted and out. Even the hammer has time to get out in that situation, which is normally you're not like, oh, hammer has time to get away. That's not normally a thing when you're on an instant side of the map. But in this case, because Zabatek's vision control and his safety, it was.
I mean, this whole game, it feels like Team Newmerics just holding their hand out at the forehead of and then trying to swing. Can't reach him. But that was the first time we really saw just say, hey, you got to respond to us, make something happen. But that means the move overextended. Planet Cracker goes in. There's the sleep. The Riptire for sure going to blow up in Greymaine's face. The dog gets kicked. Defender gets knocked out of the dragon or out of the cleansing flame. Beautifully timed abilities. 3 heroes down. That's going to be 4 after the counter strike for Flavor. That should be game.
They are. I like how that when they were chasing, they ended up chasing via top. So as soon as the fight was over, they were already right next to their recognition. Catapult's encore. They just focus it. It will go down. They're doing a little bit of zoning in the Phoenix here, but they don't really care about him. He's not going to be able to prevent him. 20 to 16, 15 kills to 2. Every objective over the Newmerics. A dominant showing against and they'll be advancing to the next round.
Very compelling play. I'm not entirely surprised to see this tournament then shake out in a decisive 2-0 in favor of Team Newmerics. Kwanzaa and Zabatak have years of experience playing together. Caesar Salad with Kwanzaa and Team Newmerics in the past, I believe, have a ton of synergy as well. In my humble opinion, Caesar Salad is one of the best supports in the region right now at the amateur level. And he's only gotten better since the last time I've seen him. Envy, huge and impactful player, and you add someone like Astabrov to the mix, another long-term mainstay of the scene that does well on all fronts. You're gonna have a lot of potential. We're seeing it right now. Very solid team also, but they just don't have the time. They don't have the experience. But I think if they continue to come back, we're gonna see them start to show up more.
Yeah, and it's something. It's like there's a lot to learn in Heroes of the Storm. Even if you're already a relatively good player, there's more stuff to learn about competitive, about rotations, about comms, and it all takes time. And a lot of cases, you're sort of figuring it out on your own. Maybe you're looking at pro games and thinking, what would we do here? What did they do? It's just a lot to learn. Every MOBA has incredible depth, and Heroes of the Storm, that depth comes from the draft, and it comes from the sheer number of maps that you have to learn to play on. If you're a really good team, generally you started out like really trying to learn one map really well. Like you're reducing the variables. And it's hard to do that in a scrim environment where people want to play different maps. It's rough. it's rough to be an amateur team just because of the amount of knowledge that is required.
Well, after a very exciting best of 2, Team Newmerics moves on. We're gonna take a short break. We'll be back before you know it. More action yet ahead. Don't go anywhere.